All right, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna record while I set up. I took the midnight train going deadly well. Sorry, I got ADHD, and if I don't keep it on, I'll forget. Because there's an Adderall shortage. And psychiatrists are intimidating to me. They don't have to be. And they shouldn't be. But here we are, huh? It took the midnight train going right over here. Okay, that's where we're gonna set up, huh? Born and raised in your mom's butthole. Whoopsie doopsie, I just got demonetized. Hello, I don't remember if I have an intro for this, and frankly, I don't think it matters. I'm going to share a not put together, nor controlled, nor intentional story. I'm doing it because I was told to do it. We're gonna see where this goes. This is the story of me and Santa Muerte. I guess. Wow, I was not prepared to film. Do you like my unfinished staff? Whenever I stop being fucking lazy and decide to like put the paper mache bitch on top of it, this is going to be a mushroom staff for a mushroom druid character I made for a D&D campaign. So, just because I haven't been posting doesn't mean I haven't been living my life. I don't know why I'm putting these on. It could just be like autistic comfort, but we're here. Hi. Is this a good angle? Are you good? I'm good. I feel like I really beefy. We got the... Why did I decide to have Blue Lotus before this? Okay. I want to talk about my experience with La Santa Muerte. I've made a comparable video about Our Lady of Guadalupe on here, and I might make more, I might not. It's in God's hands, not mine, bro. I don't fucking know. Okay. So, Santa Muerte for me was a figure I tried really hard to stay away from. Like, no. Oh, hang on. Mira que thumbnail. Watch, hang on. Better watch. Pero listen, pero watch. Watchale. All right, for realsies. I'm going to take these off because I feel like I'll actually be able to focus. The playful personality has been dethroned, decrowned, if you will. There's going to be a lot of ruffling sounds and jingles because there's the perfect display in front of me, but you're going to have to deal with that. If you want my sound quality to be better, I have a PayPal. You can buy me a mic. Santa Muerte for me was a spirit I tried really hard to avoid for a really long time, and purely on reasons based in fear and ignorance, which I think is really common. Furthermore, I was coming at it from such an either like very white European pagan perspective or a full Catholic perspective, which like even in a tradition that like believes in spells and witchcraft and all this stuff, in a lot of places, in a lot of areas, a lot of folk magic crossroads, Santa Muerte is still demonized. And I think that kind of hate has really calcified in her community, especially online, exclusively online. I feel like the IRL practitioners I've met are like the chillest, realest bitches. A lot of the online folks, what are you eating? ¿Qué está comiendo? Dámelo, ¿qué está comiendo? Oh. Sorry, he's a little chomp boy. He likes to eat everything. Do you like the 1,000,002 distractions that are in this video? That feels intentional to me. So, can I go up anymore? No, that's okay. Santa Muerte for me continued to be a fearful figure, something that I was fucking terrified of. For no good reason. I had had no interactions with her or her devotees at this point. So I really had like straight up and down no reason to not like her or to have negative feelings specifically. If anything, I had no experience and therefore my opinion should be neutral. It wasn't. Thanks Catholicism. Thanks modern culture, I guess. Very white, very Eurocentric. very Christian centric, which is wild considering that like Santa Muerte as a background has like so many different like origin stories, and most of them involve God or Christ. Like very few don't. I don't know how she's not of God, but I don't really give a shit. My whole life, I've kept skulls or little bones, not like real bones, uh, but like Halloween decorations, sugar skulls. I got very into somewhere around like, I don't know, 16. I don't know why I'm yelling at you. Hopefully the sound quality isn't like crazy, 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 crazy. If I had an editor, this shit would be fire. So it'll just be a slightly smaller fire. And my entire life, I had a really close relationship with death as a concept. Big family, lots of death, lots of dying. Thematic even now. And the Grim Reaper was a figure I had become accustomed to seeing both in popular culture and like at the foot of a dying relative's bed. And so it's not something I'm unfamiliar with. It was not something that I was like super down for. The thought of having any kind of devotional or like worshiping death felt very like, what? To me at the time. So that. And I kind of left it alone for a little while. I kept my skulls. I continued a like ancestral practice, and like an ancestral veneration, I should say. Even that's poorly worded. So there was death around. It was around. She was around. But I never really like tried to reach out to her. After I had like been doing my own thing, it felt like there was no room for Santa Muerte in my life because I had heard her talked about in such like strict ways, incorrect, but still strict, about how she needs to be treated individually. She's jealous, she'll fight. And there is a lot of truth to that, like spiritually. Um, but I think like any relationship, navigating that entails a lot of communication and a lot of boundaries. Being really empathetic about like, am I making Santa Muerte lesser? What is like essentially the terms of our bargain? This devotional relationship. What's the vibe? And for me, while there is a whole bunch of reverence in it, I find that my relationship has more to it when I treat Santa Muerte and any other divinity like this as a friend. I treat them friendly. There is, and I think people get tripped up on that, especially the old heads. And I don't mean any shade. You're gonna agree with me in a minute. Listen, I think it's important to treat Santa Muerte as a friend for me. I don't have the greatest relationship with authority. And in that sense, anybody who is authoritative in my eye or has that kind of connotation is going to be respected immediately less. That relationship dynamic places the other person at a lower starting point than I think is necessary or conducive to a good relationship. And having a conducive start to a prosperous relationship is extremely important, especially when we're talking about a relationship with a spiritual entity, especially something that you are going to be devoted to. That thought left, so hopefully we're done. So I just didn't think that there was any room for her. But after navigating and like really finding some degree of nuance in my understanding and everything else, I realized that there was room for her. I left it alone, walked away. I started my business, started offering spiritual services. And around my first year anniversary, I started doing a lot of house calls. I'm in like the Denver area in Colorado in the US. So like fill out my website form if you want. Ding dong. A friend was having a hard time with a haunting in their house. And they had lived with other people, and they had this like really weird setup where like there was a basement and an upstairs, but they were separated. It was very weird. Um, and they both had really different energies, but they said that both were haunted, which I found really interesting. And they asked for help. I went in and assessed the situation. I had known that they were a Santa Muerte devotee before I went there. And because of that, I felt compelled to approach Santa Muerte first. I'm going to lower this so that way when I slink down, it's not that low. Get out of my titties. Okay. I think that should be better. And I felt really compelled when I went over that I should prepare offerings, that I should be bringing stuff. So I went and I got a bunch of shit. I found this like little owl candle. I got like flowers. We got herbs, both to do the cleansing and to put on her altar. I got her perfume. I got her like little candies and chocolates. Just like stuff. And like, frankly, I just think that's respectful, especially if you're like, no, this is this house's deity. Like, yeah, bring a fucking offering. Ingratiate yourself before you do spiritual work for people, you asshole. And while I was sitting there, I began to sit down and to channel and do some prayers. And I ended up feeling Santa Muerte's presence really heavily. This was the purple robe. So it was a really calming, and it feels like a whisper, but like a whisper you know isn't from a person. It just feels like the sound gently coming towards you, but there's no movement of air or anything. In that sense, it's kind of still, almost liminal. Um, and it was my first experience with Santa Muerte, like TM showing up for me. I went through the rest of the thing, cleansed the house, talked to him. Long story short, the ghosts weren't really an issue. They were fucking up their own lives and were sent down a path that was really self-destructive. I don't know how it turned out. And after that, I didn't really like engage with something like that. She made no like pass at me, essentially. She made no like grab or like any kind of sign that like I was supposed to bring her into my home, that I was supposed to be devoted to her. I was supposed to explore this relationship with her. So I didn't for a really long time, and honestly, after a while, she became something I couldn't ignore. Especially the gold robe Santa Muerte. She was like very, very present and very like heavily visible for me. To the point where I could not ignore her anymore. A lot of death happened, yes. None of which I blame Santa Muerte for, because like that would be stupid. I don't blame water for being wet. And there was a series of other signs. An owl roosted in a tree right outside my bedroom window and would hoot at like 3 in the morning every day. And so I was like, hello. Which, like, frankly, could have been other spirits, but I took it as a Santa Muerte TM sign. I did a lot of really gentle rituals to invite her in. Just like, frankly, I wasn't even sure. I was just like, I know that she's trying to establish some kind of connection and that I need to reach back out and reciprocate. So it was like, I'm going to print out a little image of you. I still have it. I'm going to light you a plain yellow candle because they don't have gold at the grocery store. So I'm going to give you closest. And I'm going to say your prayers. And I did. I still say the same prayer today. It's found in Helping Yourself with Selected Prayers. One, it's only in the Spanish version because I don't know. I'm not the publisher. And from there, I like really just organically developed a relationship with Santa Muerte. I sought out a lot of more experienced practitioners, asked for a lot of help and a lot of guidance. I got a lot of readings. And while each of them had their own profound like message for me, they were all kind of the same, even though I got them from different people and they didn't know each other for sure. Each of them were like, the bony lady is reaching out for you. There's like a skeleton hand reaching out for you. Santa Muerte wants to be on your altar. And it was just like, okay, thank you, message confirmed in triplicate. This is very bureaucratic of you, Santita. And eventually I was like, all right, homegirl, let's chill. And I tried to have like a really like rigid and like devotional relationship with like, I'm going to be pious and I'm going to prostrate myself. And there is room for that. I'm not knocking a practice, just saying that like we can have nuanced experiences. There is room for levity. I realized that it wasn't working for me, and I was like, I'm getting nothing from this. I've had no interaction with Santa Muerte, and usually if like this kind of spirit interaction is happening and they've reached out to me, the connection is easier to establish. There's usually like a very visionary mystic experience. Like I straight up will have a vision of them if the like vibe is vibing. And I was like, why isn't this working? This is how everybody tells me to do it. This is what all the old heads say. They all say, you gotta do this, you gotta offer these things, you gotta do it at this time and this way. And frankly, while it didn't work for me, very good foundation for just like ritual process with Santa Muerte, because she is very Catholic in like her ritual process, but there are some other shit there. Santa Muerte for like as a spirit historically, or like as a spirituality, has a lot to do, if not being directly from Candomblé, con permiso. So like there is a heavy African influence in her worship, in her veneration, and it changes because like she went all through the Caribbean and especially Mexico, did a whole bunch with her, and then she came to America, so she has picked up a lot of qualities along the way. And honestly, I at one point went really big with her. I built like a massive altar space because, again, all the videos were like, she's jealous, she's materialistic, and I took that so literally, I didn't have time to process it. And I was like, boom, boom, big shit, all kinds of stuff. And then I'm like, why am I exhausted? Why am I drained? Why is my depression worse than it's ever been? Why are none of these things working out? Why are relationships falling apart? And I'm like, oh, I burnt myself out trying to be what the internet told me to be instead of literally having communion with a spirit who wants to commune with me. And when I say it like that, I'm like, why the fuck did you do that shit, you dumb motherfucker? And then I realized that like I could just like pare this down. And so I like removed a lot of things from her altar, which like again is supposed to be a no-no, but was like so good. It was just like cleaning up the clutter. Everything was clear, the connection was clear, it was easier to communicate with her, it was easier for her to communicate with me, I'm sure. And it felt really good. And as I like really had this small altar for her, very tiny, I began to develop more. And like for a while I was first beginning, I kept her like straight up in a separate area from all the other saints, separate area. Until one day she approached me and asked why she couldn't be there. And I was like, oh, because like, you know, they say you're not supposed to be there. And she was like, why? And I was like, oh, because you're like death and they're like, you know, God. And she was like, every person that is represented on that altar died. They have all met me. And the point that she really drives home a lot of the time is like, everything meets me. Everything meets death. Do you want to meet death as a friend? Do you want to meet death as an authoritative figure? Do you want to meet death as strangers? What do you want for your final moments? And I was like, Valid. I want to meet death as a friend. Big homies. And so now we smoke blunts together. Which, like, valid. Old school. Santa Muerte has developed into such a beautiful figure. And she's really found a place within my understanding of the world, the universe, and my spiritual practice as well. I found ways to safely and productively, effectively have Guadalupe and her, where everybody knows what's going on. We all understand that there, like, isn't a ranking, but, like, is different. There's a different relationship. I go to them for different things. They have different specialties. Both have an intense love. Both like to do this thing, and this is like a tangent. The story's done. You can go away. They both like to do this thing when, like, I am doing a, like, really intense vision, and I'm, like, deep in the fucking sauce, my dude. I will have, like, a space that's, like, almost a dedicated meeting temple for, like, all right, divinity, come on down to this space. We will meet here. Which, like, solid practice. Solid practice. And in this place, they really like to show up at the same time. They love to mindfuck me. Again, we're coming from this place of, like, keep them separate, keep them safe. But, like, they show up together, and then they each become, like, the head of a grander snake. And I'm like, life and death, locked in the eternal cycle, the very earth itself, the cosmos that swallows even up the earth. And, like, the layers of that I find really reflective, like the layers of humanity. Like, I don't know. We're bones inside meat, inside skin, inside a plant. Well, I guess we get buried inside a planet. This is getting offhand. We'll get somewhere. Inside a planet. That planet is inside of space, and space is inside of bigger space, I guess. I don't know. I'm not an astrophysicist. Though, frankly, I want to see an astrophysicist, like, do an Espiritismo apprenticeship. I want to know the cross-section. Why? I just think it'd be good for science, man. It's good for science. Like, oh man, it's... Is this supposed to... Do you have anything else for me to say? Frankly, I said all this because somehow, even though I more or less tried to keep, like, my Santa Muerte relationship on the down low, I have become known as, like, a Santa Muerte dude on the various platforms. Don't know how. I don't know why. Like, thank you. Gladly. I will deliver the message if she has one for you. Oh my god, I make such cute charms for her. They're, like, so fucking cute, dude. One of the, like, things I made, I think, like, 2 or 3 years ago at this point, it could have been longer, I'm bad at time, was from a dried sunflower stalk. So, like, after all the flowers had died, it was fucking, like, 10 feet tall. So I ripped it out of the fucking ground. I cut, like, the top 3 feet off because, like, they was kind of thin. And then, like, the roots were perfect, like a... I don't know why I'm doing this. Like, the roots looked like a scythe. So, now I have, like, a sunflower stalk scythe. And that's fucking cool. Like, tell me that's not the most Santa Muerte shit in the world. Sunflowers? And those sunflowers were a fucking golden color, too. They would be, like, either really golden yellow or have, like, a nice warm orange to them. I never see orange robe Santa Muertes. That's never anywhere. Watch, I'm gonna see a bunch of them now. Either because Google saw me and wants to shit on me or heard me, or because Santa Muerte does. So, like, I don't know. That's all I have for you. Thanks for listening to a babble. I'm not sure if this will get posted. If it did get posted, yay for everyone! I'm not great at making videos, but I'll make some sometime, you know. If you want to see me in the meantime, you can follow me on Instagram if you care about my content, or if you want to just see me fuck around and shitpost, follow me on TikTok. I also have a Patreon if you want to like see a backlog of a bunch of things that may or may not be updated ever again. And I have a website with all my services and a contact form if you want to put me on a fucking podcast or hit me up for home cleansings. I don't have a rate yet, but it'll probably be reasonable. Did you get the camera? The camera? Yeah. Who's this bit for? That. Now imagine that edited. Tell me it's not like 10 times funnier. What did I say? What did I fucking say, man? Somebody's gonna be like, you're appropriating your own culture. I don't know. Goodbye. That's all I have for you. It's peace I offer you. It's in peace I leave you. Get the fuck out.